Welcome to channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Now today's video I would like to give you some updates coming up from the immigration sector and industry, where we received the information and news yesterday in regards to some of the updates. So this will be a visa update and news for you. Now let's have a look. It's actually coming from Migration Institute of Australia, Notice 12. So it was 21st of February 2020. So it's less than 24 hours old. So the first information is the impact of the COVID-19 travel ban, which everybody knows is about the novel coronavirus, which has outbreaks initially from China all the way to Asia, and now looks like Middle East and Europe, and also in North America and in Australia as well. So the applicants for the ACT 491, let's have a look. The ACT is basically the Canberra government has provided following information to MIA members. So all applicant ACT nomination must meet the eligibility. That's pretty obvious. So you need to meet the criteria. However, if you are not able to return to Canberra due to the delay caused by the COVID-19 travel ban, there is a relaxations for you. So obviously it's under compelling, compassionate circumstances under the law. So if you are being barred by traveling back to Australia due to this, it will be okay. So there is an example, says a 491 applicant worked for 9 weeks in Canberra and went back for a holiday 2 weeks and then cannot come back due to the travel ban. So then obviously you can have that relax, and then you can, that's the formula there. So basically say 9 weeks were prior departure, 2 weeks paid leave, 2 weeks were returned back to Canberra, so that, you know, that's going to be 13. So basically every sector of the government, from state, territory, and also the federal government, are notified in regards to the travel ban. But there is not much you can do if you're a student visa holder and you cannot return. Some people, they try to go to third countries, for example some countries in Southeast Asia, but just be very careful, because while you're traveling there may be others being affected as well, because you don't know what's happening, especially these 2 days, the outbreaks in Japan and South Korea, and we don't know. It looks like Singapore is containing the virus quite well, but look, we don't know, as this is a novel coronavirus, the treatment of it's still uncertain at this point of time. Okay, now bridging visa grant delay. So obviously there has been a lot of resources being pulled out to service due to the travel ban. Now travel ban, obviously people think about travel ban is that there's going to be less works for immigration, but it's actually the opposite, because there has been a lot of travelers they came to Australia and they are not able to return, because not even traveling into Australia but traveling out, some of the flight has been affected. So again, that's another issue there. Now there's a change that I will change to the Victorians business innovation investment program. So there's not much to talk about here, but I do have the link to go straight into the Victorians Department of Immigration to actually look at what the changes and criteria. So this is specifically to the 1AA visa for the business innovation stream. So let's have a read what's current, and we can give you some updates as well. So obviously you need a nomination. That's, you know, that's pretty obvious. You have to be an age under 55, and you need to get, now let's have a look, you must have at least 80 points. So not even the minimal threshold of 65 points. If you want to go to Victoria, if you want to go to Melbourne, you need to have at least 80 points. But for a lot of long-term business owners or business operators, 80 points. I don't think it's that hard. Now, business activity. Now, it says here applicant must propose engage in eligible business activity, and eligible business can be almost any commercial endeavor. So that's basically everything, but to exclude the following. So small scale property development, that basically meant you bought old piece of land and then subdivide it into two and build dwellings above it. So that's a small scale property development, so that cannot be accepted by the state of Victoria, and also states of, I believe, state of New South Wales and Queensland as well. Okay, small scale freight forwarding and warehousing. Now that has been a very popular business that has been doing, especially due to the free trade agreement around the world with Australia. So a lot of Australian goods can be stored and warehoused in a wholesale prices, and then they just utilizing online presence to the freight forward and send over to other destination or like other countries. So that cannot be done as well. Now, commodity and scrap metal export. Now that cannot be done because I believe there has been a lot of people been dealing with that, and the government do want to have a control. They don't want to have oversupply of these kind of services out there. Now, passive investment is definitely not, because that's not acceptable by the Department of Immigration anyway. That means you cannot buy numbers of units, apartments, or townhouses and start rental and just collecting passive income. That cannot be done as well. Export business activity. So applicant proposing engage in export activity must demonstrate how the proposed activity provide direct contribution to the Victorian economy. So how do we contribute and how do we show that? And then you need to show the value of goods and services coming from Victoria. That's pretty obvious. The jobs created, a local economy, benefit of business, assistance of business export, product addressing market gaps. Now, how you gonna demonstrate addressing market gaps? I think that will be a bit hard, especially unless you're actually within the depth of that industry or that category of business. Expansion of export markets. So you cannot just pick on something that's already existing, and it matches back to the freight forward, and you cannot just do freight forward, and you need to increase and improve the business or the market there. So you must not engage a great market or parallel exporting. That's what I just said. That is activity where goods are imported sold in the export market without consent of owner of goods, a trademark. So you cannot just forward for on behalf of someone else. That's another way to say it. Now, benefit to Victoria. That's pretty obvious. It has to be benefit to Victoria. Otherwise, why would the state of Victoria to nominate and sponsor you for your business activities? Employees, applicant must agree to employ at least one full-time. Now, at least one full-time in their main business for a minimum 12 months within that 24 month. A lodgement to become lodgement 888 visa, that's becoming a permanent residency. The eligible employee must work at least 30 hours, okay? And they have to be Australian citizen or permanent resident and cannot be a member of your family. Now, sufficient fund. That's pretty obvious. If you're doing a business innovation visa, obviously you have money to be there. So at least they mandatory. They need to see at least 400,000 to be available from the business, and 200,000 for settlement. So altogether there will be 600,000 cash to be transferred into Victoria or into your bank account in Victoria. Living, I think that's pretty obvious. Understanding commercial challenges. So I think this is just to a notification rather than what you need to do, because obviously you need to know the commercial challenges for your industry. Otherwise, how do you build a business anyhow? Now, agreeing nomination obligation, that's pretty obvious. Changes to business activity. So if you do want to change, while you're not required to advise Victoria Skill changes to business intention, Well, I still strongly advise that if you do have any change of ideas or whatever the business that you want to do, consult with your migration agent or lawyer. It's best to consult with the state as well, so at least you get that consent there. Because if they do change their mind and not accepting your 888 permanent residency application, that will be a bad thing. Okay, now the following obviously will be the application procedure, which we will not go into detail further. So that's for the update of the immigration news and the visa insights for Australia. Now stay tuned and consider to subscribe to our channel, so once we have the upcoming news and updates, you shall be the first one to get that news. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.